guys, so today I'm going to be doing CHING number 139. So you will start seeing I do have a lot of the Viking Glass pieces that I have sold recently in this CHING. Still have a lot to list. I really didn't make any dent in any of the long tail birds, and there's just definitely more Viking Glass that needs to get listed. So I am taking a break on the Viking Glass just because I don't want to, all of the collectors that are buying them right now, like, I don't want them to go broke. so let them save their money through the rest of this year, and then I'll probably start listing more again in January because there was a lot of good sales there. So anyway, we're gonna get straight into it. The first thing that I have is actually a Nintendo GameCube game. This one was called Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. That sold for $109.99. That did come from an auction. Eric and I won quite a few video games. Same with this next one, came from the same auction. This was a Nintendo GameCube Super Monkey Ball 2 game that sold for $22.99. Then I also have, this was by Danbury Mint, but by an artist named Bob Googe. It was a bird sculpture. We actually got this, and I think quite a few other Danbury Mint bird sculptures that we sold already in the past, but they came from that folk art auction. This one sold for $59. The next couple of items were those Catherine Lily White Halloween ornaments. I'm telling you guys, you see them in every CHING. So the first one, someone purchased 3 of the black cats for a total of $29.97. Then we also have a grinning cat head ornament that sold for $9.99. A cat with a pumpkin that sold for $9.99. We also have a cat holding kind of like a pumpkin garland that sold for $12.99. And then we have a cat with a ghost that sold for $9.99. I sold a Tarte lip paint in the shade Pillow Talk for $15.99. That came from a yard sale, and I paid, I think it was 50 cents for that. Let's see, next 2 items went to a subscriber named Sandra. She purchased a ceramic little girl holding a kitten for $19.99. That came from one of the private picks that Eric and I had gone to, as well as this little spaghetti trim Napco girl that sold for $9.99. I also have another GameCube game. This one was called Star Fox Adventures. That sold for $35.99. Came from the same auction where we were purchasing the other Nintendo games. I also sold a pair of DC pink and black shoes. Those sold for $45.99, and they came from a yard sale. I'd say I paid $2 for those. We also sold a PlayStation 2 console. It was kind of a bundle. I think Eric threw in a game with that as well, and that sold for $72.99, and again came from an auction. Might have been the same day where the video games came from, but it might have been a different day. So here we're going to start in with the Viking Glass. So if you guys saw my video, I did do a haul of the Viking Glass. Eric and I were able to go to a lady's house who was selling off a lot of her Viking Glass collection because she was moving. So we purchased a lot of glass off of her, and it has been selling, and for very good money, which I knew it would because I did do my research beforehand as to what I was picking up. So the first thing that we have is a Diamond Point fairy lamp. This one was in the shade Spring Blue. And these all, I'm telling you guys, and you'll see, not all created equal. Some colors are just highly desirable with collectors because they are just harder to find colors. And you will see that within this cha-ching. Okay, so the spring blue sold for $260. Then we have a diamond point in red that sold for $44.99. Still not bad, but nowhere near some of the prices you'll see on some of the other colors. So we did sell a persimmon colored rooster for $139. Then this next item is also persimmon colored. It was an owl ashtray that sold for $56.99. Back onto some fairy lamps, we have a brown diamond point fairy lamp that sold for $155.50. Then we have a persimmon diamond point fairy lamp that sold for $130. We have a charcoal diamond point that sold for $285.99. This one was the best one, and I knew that as soon as I saw it. I was looking for that color. This one is the peach one, and it is a very, very, very desirable color that sold for $405. So awesome. Then we're going to get into the Gypsy Roses. These are also a very hard to find kind of Viking glass pieces. The first one was a blue Gypsy Rose that sold for $389.99. We also have a green one that sold for $461.99. Then we have a persimmon that sold for $274.99. This next green one was broken. The stem on it was broken. It still sold for $61. So nowhere near the one that wasn't broken, but if you're displaying it in a way that the stem isn't really going to be showing, that's still, you know, a good deal on that particular item. We also sold an amber colored dog for $145. Then some of the fish. This first one was a red fish with the tail pointing to the left. That sold for $510. Then there was a blue fish that sold for $149.99. Also, we have a clear mushroom that had a little gold frog on it. That sold for $400. Crazy, 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 crazy. Then we have a persimmon colored alligator ashtray that sold for $255.83. Then we have another fish. This is another red fish, but this one, the tail was turned toward the right, and that one sold for $450. Then we have some dogs. This one is a persimmon colored dog that sold for $170.50. We sold a red dog for $535. A clear dog for $700. And a brown dog for $999. Needless to say, it's been a good month so far. Okay, let's see. We are at, this next item was like a little, I think they're called Little Sprouts, little Cabbage Patch Kid doll in a clear kind of Christmas ornament. These would have come out at Christmas time at one point. That sold for $17.99. That did come from an auction. I actually have two more still listed, but they're just different dolls. Next item was this was marked West Germany, nice pottery bowl that sold for $53.99, and I picked that up at a yard sale. I sold two vintage little viewfinders. They look like little plastic TVs, and then when you would put them up to the light, it would show a picture, and you'd like push down on the little thing at the side. So it was like a viewfinder. Both kind of like touristy. type souvenirs. So the first one was for New York City that sold for $9.99, and the other one was the Pennsylvania Amish, and that one also sold for $9.99. Someone bought both of those. Surprisingly, I sold a pack of brand new old stock by Still Honeycomb Rabbits. So I don't know, someone's already like looking for Easter stuff right now. I'm not sure, but it sold for $12.99, and those came from a yard sale. Next item also came from a yard sale. This was a Department 56 by Patience Brewster fish. Absolutely adorable, whimsical. That sold for $39.99. I sold and I think I said in my last cha-ching, I was like putting things aside for a Christmas related cha-ching, and I have some Christmas stuff in here, so I apologize for that. There will be hopefully a Christmas cha-ching. I have been putting stuff back, but anyway, some things just, you know, got trickled in here. So the first one was a ceramic Christmas girl holding a lantern spaghetti trim. That sold for $39.99. I also sold a beaded sequin mushroom ornament with a little bee on top. That sold for $19.99. I sold a Mack truck belt buckle. This came from an auction. It was just mixed in. It's like a box lot mixed in with some other stuff. That sold for $19.99. I sold a vintage Masters of the Universe He-Man with his Battle Cat. That sold for $69.99, and that came from the lady I've been buying vintage toys from. Same way with this next item, which was a vintage Polly Pocket board game. That sold for $79.99. So, leads me to the last 31 days. I am up 116%. So, that Viking Glass had a lot to do with it, but I also do think sales are really good right now. There's been a lot of sales. I do feel like there's an uptick in toys. I feel like I've been selling a lot of toys lately. So that, as well as, you know, Christmas related stuff, is definitely selling at the moment. And I sold all of that glass. And yeah, so eBay is doing really, really well for now. Knock on wood. So hopefully it stays that way. Trying to think of anything else I wanted to talk about. My birthday is on Saturday, so Eric and I are going out to eat tomorrow because I really didn't want to go out on the weekend. So we're gonna go out to eat tomorrow. I think we're going to the Dobbin House because I love the Dobbin House. It's a really great restaurant in Gettysburg. One of my favorite places to eat, so we're probably gonna go there. And I also wanted to check out a place in Gettysburg. I haven't been to it yet. It's called the Gettysburg Chocolate Market, and they do a lot of, they sell chocolate obviously, but they also do a lot of coffees and stuff there. So I wanted to try one of their coffees there. So, and then I think we're gonna go see the new Willy Wonka movie. I'm not sure if that's out yet, but I know it's coming out soon if it's not already. So probably do that at some point as well. I didn't really ask for much for my birthday or Christmas. I honestly don't really need anything. And like the older you get, the more it's like, it's hard to like even figure out what you really want, because if you need something through the year, you typically just buy it, you know what I mean? So I'm having a hard time like coming up with anything that I even want him to get me. I did ask for some books just because I've been in a real, well, I'm always reading, but like I've been way more like reading way more than what I was, and I joined a book club on TikTok. I don't use TikTok except really just to like watch book related videos, so I joined a book club on TikTok. So last month was my first month, and so I read the 2 books for the book club last month. I really, really liked the one, not so much the other one. And then this month, I already read the one, which I really liked. And then I'm currently reading the other one, which I'm not quite sure yet how much I like it because I'm not finished with it. But if anyone is actually like interested, the girl that I follow that does the book club, her TikTok name is Steph Reads a Lot. She is just the cutest thing. And the book club, you don't obviously have to pay or anything to join. And you don't even have to read both books. You don't even have to read the books. But then she'll do a live at like the end of the month, and then you can join in with the discussion or just read like what people, you know, thought of the books and stuff like that. So it's been fun. I've been really enjoying it. Like I have a bookcase filled with books, and my dad used to work for a book company, so he would get me books like every week. He'd be bringing books home because they had like a little bookstore that they could shop at, and they could buy books for like practically nothing kind of thing. So he was bringing me books home like every week. So my bookcase has been full for so long, and a lot of the books that he would get me were Stephen King books, which I mean, I like reading Stephen King, but some of his books are so freaking long that, you know, when I would go to my bookcase to pick out a book, I would just see like a book this thick, and it's like, I don't know if I want to get into something that thick at the moment, you know what I mean? So it's been kind of nice to actually buy some new books and not just pick off my bookcase of books that I've had for years, type of thing. So I've been enjoying that actually. Trying to think if there's anything else other than my birthday and the book club. I don't want to get too involved into talking about this because it's, you know, it's private-y, I guess you'd say. But my neighbor lady, I've been living at this townhouse for, oh my gosh, it's been quite a number of years now. Is it 10 years? I don't even know. I don't know where the time's going. It's going. But anyway, she's pretty much, like, we've been pretty much neighbors since, you know, I moved in. And, you know, we're not like super close or anything like that, but close enough. I take care of her cats anytime she goes anywhere. So, you know, I have a key to her house. So, you know, we're comfortable around each other. You know what I mean? Anyway, so last Tuesday, she comes knocking at the door, and she's saying there's someone trying to break into Eric's truck, and I'm just automatically like, what is going on? You know what I mean? Like, something's going on. So I yell for Eric to come downstairs because, you know, obviously I'm thinking something's happening. He comes down and he's talking to her, and, you know, she's convinced that she's seen two people in his truck, but his truck is locked. And, you know, Eric has eagle eyes. I don't have the best eyes, especially at nighttime. So, like, I'm believing her, even though I didn't see anything either. I figured she saw something, you know what I mean? And Eric's like, no, there's nobody there. And she proceeds to say, like, they were in her house and they made all this mess and stuff like that. And Eric's like, you need to go home and lay down. You know what I mean? Like, we thought something was up. So she goes back to her house, and Eric and I go upstairs, and we're both like, something is not right. Like, she is hallucinating. She is an older lady. I'd say upper 60s, close to 70, if not low 70s. And we were like, we need to do something, but what do we do? So I called for a wellness check for someone to come and, you know, see what's going on, basically, because obviously I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything. I don't know like what kind of medications she's on or anything like that. And she lives by herself. So I called in for a wellness check, and, you know, a police officer came, and then he kind of realized like right away like something isn't right. So they called, you know, for like an EMS, and she's been in the hospital since last Tuesday, and she's been texting me, obviously. Like when I went over, you know, I saw that the cats needed taken care of. I went out and got food. I went out and got litter, took care of all of that. And, you know, the house needed some work, but me personally, I'm just one person kind of thing, and I was doing what I could, but I didn't know like how far into depth I should go into, you know, cleaning her house and what have you, because it's not really my place. I just pretty much take care of the cats, and that's about it. So I kept in contact with her through text messages, and she's been calling me, and she did have some ladies from the neighborhood that she's friends with that did go over to her house and clean it all up. So that was nice that, you know, I could do what I could do, but there's no way like one person could have done everything, you know what I mean? So like I said, she's been in the hospital since last week, and I'm pretty sure they're discharging her today. Unfortunately, I have to wait until Eric gets home from the auction, because Eric is the sweetest. You hear me say all the time, like, I don't have the best eyesight, and it's really not good at night. I don't like driving at night because my eyesight's just not the best. So he worries about me like all the time, and he just doesn't want me going by myself at night. He's not comfortable with it, so he said like she's just gonna have to wait until, you know, he gets home so that we can go together. So after he gets home, we're gonna go pick her up and bring her home. So I know she's gonna be so happy to be back home with her cat. I'm hoping though that, you know, she got all straightened out and everything. I'm still not entirely certain what happened. I think it had something to do with, you know, maybe mixing medication or taking too much of her medication or something like that. But when I was talking to her on the phone and through text messages, like, she sounded more of her normal self kind of thing. So I definitely think she's doing better. And obviously, otherwise, I don't think they would discharge her. So probably gonna pick her up later. But yeah, that is pretty much everything I really have to kind of talk about. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this cha-ching. Let me know what you thought down in the comments, and I will see you next time.